afternoon to all of you. Myself is Dr. Akhi Mishra presenting today my lecture on urinary tract anti-infective agents. Previously, I have taken one more lecture of this for this topic, urinary tract anti-infective agent, that is part 1, and now it is part 2. Okay. So, before starting again the description of various urinary tract infection, you must be familiar with that what is a urinary tract infection, what is the meaning of urinary tract or the urinary system. We have discussed earlier that urinary system of an human body is made up of 4 things. The first thing is kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, and the fourth one is urethra, right. These 4 parts of human body constitute the urinary system. If we consider kidney and ureter, these are upper urinary tract, and urinary bladder and urethra are lower urinary tract. We have also discussed that the urinary tract infection is defined as the presence of at least 1 lakh bacteria per ml of urine. The bacteria can be gram positive, the bacteria can be gram negative, but this is basically 1 lakh bacteria. If it is present in 1 ml of urine, then it is said that the person is suffering or the person is having a UTI. Most infection involve the lower urinary tract, the bladder and urethra. We have also discussed ki starting, this is your kidney, ureters, urinary bladder and then urethra, right. So, the infection will start from urethra, it will move towards the urinary bladder, and in some severe urinary tract infection it may go towards the your kidney. So, it can move from your you can say urethra to urinary bladder, okay. That means it involves the lower urinary tract, the bladder and urethra. If we talk about the different anti-UTI agents, the different types are, we have also discussed in the previous lecture. They can be bacteriostatic in nature, they can be bactericidal. As we all know that bacteriostatic means that it is inhibiting the growth of bacteria. If a drug is inhibiting the growth of bacteria, that is a causative agent, then it is known as bacteriostatic. Bactericidal means it is directly killing the bacteria, then it is bactericidal. And if they are used in the form of antiseptic or topically, then they are known as antiseptic. So, the different examples are bacteriostatic agents can be sulfonamide, tetracycline, nitrofurantoin. If we talk about the bactericidal agents, it can be fluoroquinolones, cephalosporins, aminoglycosides. If we talk about the topical application of these urinary antiseptics, they can be nitrofurantoin, nalidixic acid, methenamine and mandolate, right. So, these are the different types of anti-UTI agents. Now, coming towards the, as we have seen here, the word bactericidal are having the fluoroquinolones. Now, before moving towards the fluoroquinolones, you must be familiar of the term quinolones, right. These fluoroquinolones and quinolones, they both are correlated. How? I will discuss. See, the quinolones are really not antibiotic, they are a group of synthetic antibacterial agent which are mainly effective against gram negative bacteria. Accidentally these quinolones are discovered, okay. So, they are synthetic antibacterial agents. Nalidixic acid was the first member which is introduced in 1964 for urinary and other gastrointestinal tract infections. Its congeners like oxolinic acid and rosaxicin with more potency in 1970. That means, initially quinolones are there in the market in the form of this drug nalidixic acid, and this nalidixic acid was first used for urinary as well as for GIT infection in 1964. Okay. and in 1964 after this nalidixic acid, other its analogues like oxolinic acid, rosoxacin, they are introduced in the market in 1970s. Now second generation called fluoroquinolones. See what happens in 1964, these quinolones are discovered, okay, and after 1970, that means in 1974 approx, these fluoroquinolones are discovered. You can see here that there is a relation between quinolones and fluoro. One is quinolones, the other is fluoro. The only thing is this fluoro. So, if this fluoro substitution occurs in quinolones, then they are regarded as fluoroquinolones. The question is, what is the basic need for the introduction of this fluoroquinolones? See, every time it seems when anything is there in the market and the people are using it, it is proving beneficial, it is helping the people, then what is the need for introduction of other types of derivative? Because basically the quinolones are effective against gram negative bacteria. Suppose the person is suffering from gram positive, so this quinolone is not active for gram positive bacteria. So, there is a need in the market to introduce some type of any antibiotic which are active against gram positive bacteria. So, these fluoroquinolones, the second generation of these fluoroquinolones are very active against gram positive bacteria also. Okay. See, this is the basic structure of quinolones. If I hide this fluorine, then what is this? This is the basic structure of fluoroquinolones. The 1, wait a minute, 1, okay, 2, 3, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. What will happen? If we talk about quinolones, at the 6th position this quinine, this fluorine is not present, then they are regarded as, if fluorine is not present, see here, if fluorine is not present, then they are regarded as quinolones. If fluorine is present, then they are regarded as fluoroquinolones. The only basic structural difference between quinolone and fluoroquinolone is at the 6th position, is fluorine is attached, then they are regarded as your fluoroquinolones, and if this fluorine is not attached, then they are regarded as quinolones. Okay. Now, moving towards the fluoroquinolones. They are a relatively new groups of antibiotics. They were first introduced in 1986, but they are really a modified quinolones. I have already told ki they are quinolones when fluorine is attached at the 6th position, you can see here, then they are regarded as fluoroquinolones, a class of antibiotic whose accidentally discovered in 1960. In 1960 actually the quinolones are discovered, but in 1984 or 1986 these fluoroquinolones are discovered by substitution at the 6th position with fluorine. Okay. So, they are not really means first introduced, but they are really a modified quinolones. Now, if we talk about the quinolones, again these quinolones or these quinolones are the first agent which is discovered in 1964. Then in 1984 these fluoroquinolones are discovered. I have told you earlier कि quinolones are active against gram positive, fluoroquinolones became active for gram positive as well as gram negative. Now, there is a question ki why there is a need. See, this fluoroquinolones are divided into different generations, right? The first generation, the second generation, if we talk about the classification, the third generation and the fourth generation. The first generation example is nalidixic acid, siloxacin, right? And they are active against gram negative bacteria which are aerobic. See, they are active only against gram negative. Now, the second generation which yields the fluoroquinolones, right. The second generation starts with fluoroquinolones. The examples are norfloxacin, ciprofloxacin, lomifloxacin. They became active against gram positive bacteria. Then comes the third generation, the levofloxacin, sparfloxacin, gatifloxacin. They are active against gram positive as well as again against pneumococci. They are very particularly active against pneumococci. And the fourth generation is trovafloxacin, moxifloxacin, synaxafloxacin, sitafloxacin. They are having more activity against pneumococci. So, you can see in this table that there is a gradual development of the drugs, right, of the quinolones. Initially, they are in the form of quinolones which are active only for gram negative. Then they become active against gram positive also. Along with gram positive, they become active against pneumococci, but they become more activity against pneumococci. Okay. Now, these are the chemical structures of fluoroquinolones. What is the meaning? Here that we have seen different types of generations like nalidixic, enoxacin, nor, cipro, lomi, levo, spar, gatti, trova, moxi, sina, sita. Now, the different types, some examples of fluoroquinolones with their structure you can see here. See, this nalidixic acid, it is not having fluorine, right, you can see here. So, this is an example of quinolone. Okay. Now, you can see here the norfloxacin, it is having this fluorine at the 6th position. How? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th. Okay. So, you can see here again this ofloxacin is also having fluorine, ciprofloxacin is also having fluorine, travofloxacin is also having fluorine, moxifloxacin is also having fluorine. You can see here that this nitrogen is common to all fluoroquinolones. This COH is also common to all fluoroquinolones. You can by seeing the structure of different generation, you can identify that what type of groups are basically common, and if they are common, that means they are having some active moiety. These moieties or these functional groups are very active. For example, you can see in all the structure that this nitrogen is present. You can see in all the examples one COH group is also present. Again, you can see in all the example this C double bond O, this C double bond O, this C double bond O, and this is present. In the SAR study of these fluoroquinolones, we will discuss about ki how they are active. Okay. Again, nalidixic acid, norflox, enoxacin, cipro, lomi, spar, gatti, moxi, trova. Again, in all the things you can see here now N substitution is there. Now, you can see in the last generation N substitutions are there, COH group is present again in all the moieties. You can see, you can identify here, sorry, this is again COH group, and one CO group is also present in all the moieties. Okay. Now, very important part is structure activity relationship of these fluoroquinolones, because we are indicating, we are observing that COH group is present, N group is present, C double bond O group is present. Then what is the main feature, right? Firstly, we will discuss ki where we can do the substitution. See, this is the first position, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now, see here at the R1 position. Position 1 means if we do any type of substitution at position 1, what will happen? It will alter its potency and pK, that means pharmacokinetics, right. If we do substitution at position 2, 3 and 4, see this position 2, 3, 4, the purple one, position 2 is any substitution, position 3 pe it is COH group, position 4 it is C double bond O group. What we have observed in the initial structure, all these are involved in binding to some enzyme that is called DNA gyrase, and these are essential for mechanism of action. This is very important point ki position 2, 3 and 4, all the things which are substituted in position 2, 3 and 4, they are responsible for DNA gyrase activity, or they are responsible for its mechanism of action. Now, if we move towards position 5, what will happen? It will give activity against gram positive bacteria. Now, again see here that if we substitute this 6th position, because in all the fluoroquinolones we have substituted with this as fluorine. Okay. So, this position 6 is involved in bacterial cell penetration and DNA gyrase activity. Again ki these 2, 3, 4th position is active or is responsible for the activity, and here also this position 6 is also involved in bacterial cell penetration and it is also responsible for the activity. Okay. Now, position 7, it is involved in spectrum of activity and again pharmacokinetics. Position 8 involved in spectrum including anti-anaerobic activity. So, see, this is so beautiful that by the diagram you can predict ki what type of substitution, and what types of functional groups are responsible, essential, and what they can cause. Getting my point? So, in this you can see here ki this position 2, 3, 4 and position 6. Now, we come to conclusion that position 2, 3, 4 and 6, these are essential for the activity, and the alteration in other position can cause the pharmacokinetics effect, can cause alteration in its potency, can cause alteration in its pharmacokinetics. So, this is the SAR. Again I will tell you the examples by which we can substitute. See here, again I am marking position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, you can see in the R1, it increases the overall potency. We can substitute by this group cyclopropyl or by difluoro substitution or by any alkyl substitutes. Now, you can also see the potency here ki if we substitute this with isopropyl, it will have largest activity when compared to other alkyl. R2 pe, in R2 position there is no substitution. R3 COH group ऐसे ही रहेगा, it is as such. R4 it is as such. R5 means the substitution can increase the gram positive activity. How? If we substitute this R5th position with NH2, it is the highest, it will have the highest gram positive activity, followed by the substitution OH, followed by the substitution of methyl. R6 position is fluorine and it is active for, it is responsible for gram negative activity, gram negative activity is because of this fluorine group. Okay. R7, it increases activity for both gram negative and gram positive. If we want the activity would increase for gram negative, we can substitute it with this pyrrolidine. If we need it will increase for gram positive, we can substitute by these ring substituent. R8 position, it increases activity of anaerobes and gram positive. If we talk about anaerobes, this N double bond is responsible for anaerobes, and for gram positive it can be fluorine, chlorine or dimethoxy. So, this is very interesting that the initial slide see, in the initial slide you have seen ki which type of activity, which type of pharmacokinetics, which type of means action it can have, and in the next slide you have seen ki what type of substitution you can do for increasing the activity. Is it okay? Okay. Now, very important part is mechanism of action. For examination point of view, again this is very important part, mechanism of action for fluoroquinolones. Okay. What will happen? See this, these fluoroquinolones, first I am reading this slide, then I will explain you in detail also. What will happen? This fluoroquinolone bind to A subunit of DNA gyrase, in bracket it is written as topoisomerase second enzyme. It prevents the binding of substrate to active site of DNA gyrase. It absence of formation of enzyme substrate complex occurs, blockade of unwinding of double stranded DNA into single stranded structure occurs, prevention of synthesis of mRNA, inhibition of bacterial protein synthesis and antibacterial activity. Now, I will explain you how. See, if we talk about the multiplication of bacterial cell, then they will multiply with the help of binary fission. How? In binary fission, what will happen? One bacterial cell produce two daughter cell with identical DNA. Okay, this is okay to you? Ki what will happen? Bacterial cell reproduce with the help of bacterial fission, binary fission, in which it gives rise to two daughter cell. Now the thing is ki these strands must be separated first. When they are separated like this, okay, and wait a minute. When they are separated like this, that means what can happen? It is known as unwinding of DNA, right? Then mRNA will come, okay, mRNA will come, it will make the copy, the complementary copy of this daughter, of this parent DNA, right? This parent DNA complementary copy is formed by the mRNA, okay. Now, what will happen? First it have to, then they have to resealing. This is unwinding, this is resealing will occur, right. So, this unwinding and this resealing is carried by an enzyme which is called a DNA gyrase enzyme. DNA gyrase enzyme, this DNA gyrase is present in bacterial cell. What it do? It will cause the nicking, supercoiling and resealing. Three action it can do. Nicking means it separates the DNA, okay. Supercoiling means it will form the mRNA complementary, it will help, and then it will cause the resealing of this thing, right. So, this DNA gyrase is again having the two subunit, A subunit and B subunit. Now, what will happen? These fluoroquinolones binds to the A subunit of DNA gyrase. The other name of this is topoisomerase second enzyme. What will happen? They prevent the binding of substrate to active site of DNA gyrase, and when the bacterial DNA is not having the active site of DNA gyrase, what will happen? It will block the unwinding of double stranded. I have told you na, nicking means to separate. It have to separate the DNA, double strand DNA, but what will happen? It will block the unwinding of double stranded DNA into single stranded structure, because of which what will happen? Synthesis of mRNA, that is making a complementary copy of parent DNA, it will not form, because of which bacterial protein synthesis will not occur. So, the main thing which you have to remember, which you have to keep in your mind, that it is binding to the A subunit of DNA gyrase enzyme, because of which unwinding and resealing do not take place, due to which bacterial protein synthesis do not take place. Is it okay? Right. These are the uses of these fluoroquinolones. They can be used for respiratory infection, they can be used for GI and abdominal infection, they can be used for prostatitis, they can be used for ophthalmic infection, the routes can be oral, the IV, the mechanism it inhibits DNA gyrase, right. So, this is the uses of fluoroquinolones. Very widely you can see it can be used for respiratory infection, in inhaled anthrax, GI and abdominal infection, in ophthalmic infection, the routes are oral and IV, mechanism it's DNA gyrase activity inhibition, and the adverse effects are tendon rupture, children under 18 years have cartilage rupture, pregnancy category C, seizures, prolonged cuticle, it can do dizziness, confusion, photosensitivity. So, this is all about the UTI agent which we have read today. What we have read? We have read what is a UTI, what are quinolones, and why there is a need to discover the fluoroquinolones, because they are active for only gram negative. So, there is a need to be active against gram positive also, right. And for gram positive, fluoroquinolones are there. They are divided into 4 generation, first, second, third and fourth, and the mechanism is they are inhibiting the DNA gyrase. Okay. Thank you very much.